Bon matin, good morning.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Did you get a haircut?
Yes, I did. Just for you, Jesse.
Ah, nice. It's different than usual. You opted to try something new?
Yeah, I did.
Good.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm enjoying the beard too.
Hmm. Yeah,
Y-
a really good look for you. Only for you.
Careful, we might make some people jealous there.
Mm.
You're gonna grow that out, or are you gonna just keep it clean like that?
Yeah, I think I'll keep it clean like that.
I gotta make this a Botpress trend, like talking about our hair. Think Robert talks about his hair every now and again on the streams.
Yeah, it's a good trend.
Gordy, Gordy doesn't talk about his hair. Uh, I mean, when it starts growing long like this, like let's just say I understand why it can be long getting ready in the morning, get
Mm.
out of the house. It's not like just passing a soap bar in your hair. People do that, right?
Yeah, I think it's so
Yeah.
boring. Yeah, it's not common though.
No. Okay, I'll stop sharing this. All right. Oh, hello, everyone. Good morning. That AI guy and Red P Unicorn. Great names. Um, Last week we were. What were we doing in ClickUp? Yeah, we created our handler and we
Yeah.
were receiving. No, we were. Yeah, we were receiving messages from
Hmm.
ClickUp through the webhook.
Yep. We connected the integration so that the ClickUp system could send us all the new comments on the task. Yeah, pretty simple, but it worked pretty well.
Yeah, but pretty much straight to the point. Well, obviously, I mean, it was super easy because you were there telling me what to do. I would have probably encountered like a bunch of hiccups on the way. Um, okay, so this is our handler. Um, oh, going like straight into it. No preamble. Is that a word in English? Préambule? Hmm.
No idea. Hmm. If we're going to start straight off, we can just talk a little bit about what we're going to do with the outgoing messages from Botpress. Um,
Yes, because well, we're receiving them and we're just processing the message, and it's going actually. If I scroll down here in our channel comments, it's actually triggering this text function, and Botpress believes it's doing something or sending a message, but we're not actually sending a message here. So this is what we're going to be building out to get a reply back.
yeah,
I'm gonna
exactly.
just switch screens real quick. Change window. Change window. Where's my? Yeah. Oh, there we go. Is this here, right? Yeah. So when we have a task, can call this a task. Yeah, task
Mhm.
in there. We can send in comments in here, and they're sent to Botpress webhook, the ClickUp integration we installed privately, but we're not getting a reply back. So what we're going to do today is get a response back from Botpress. Well, it's going to be me, I believe,
Mhm.
since I'm the one that's registered. It's my user that's registered as the Botpress account, right? So I'll be replying back to you, Mike.
Mhm. Exactly.
All right, nice. Okay, let's switch back to the code. In code. All right, let's go there.
Yeah, it's a
And
lot
as we
easier. Yep.
Mike, just before we start, I'll say just for the audience, yeah, if you have questions as we're building this out related to the integration, related to integration building, relative to code, Botpress, SDK, the client, feel free to ask in the chat. We'll be monitoring those as we build this out. Okay, Mike, yes.
The outgoing messages are really simpler to implement since you don't have to handle any HTTP body and parse the response and know how the event is structured. You just need to create the messages in the system. So you just need to call ClickUp and tell him there's a new message, just create it. So we'll go right ahead and do that. The first thing we'll need to do is to initialize the ClickUp client. Like we did with all the other functions, we can create the client.
Something like that. Oh, but now we're
Yep.
missing the context or the configuration key. So I have to pass this in here.
Mhm.
I imagine I have that same object, open the curly braces and control space. What did I need? I needed the context. Oh, that's all I needed. Okay.
Yep. And we can take a look before continuing of all of the properties that are available right here. So I'll go through all of them. I'll talk about the ACK function at the end.
Yeah, we haven't
Uh,
seen that one yet. Okay.
First time. The client function is the API client that you can use, raw client that you can use to call the API. It's all typed with everything we defined in the integration definition, which is pretty handy. We won't be using it for now because the act function is doing some magic behind the scene. The conversation is all the information related to the current conversation you want to send the messages to. With all the tags you define with everything. Logger, as we saw last time, can be used to send logs in the bot logs directly. And then there's the message, which is the message you're trying to send. The payload is the content of the message you're trying to send. And the type is the type of the message you're trying to send, which is text, obviously. And then there's the user that is sending the message, which is the bot user, because we're sending an outgoing message, and every outgoing message are always sent by the bot. So all of those information will be used to send and prepare all the data that will be in ClickUp. So yes, and the ACK function, like I said, is a function that makes our life easier. It's a small utility to acknowledge the message that was sent to ClickUp and use the IDs in the IDs from ClickUp and bind it to the message we just sent. So if we create a new message, we want to add the tags in the message of Botpress so that we can link both together. So yeah, we can start working with those. First thing we'll need to
So the
do is, yeah,
to be sure I understood the acknowledge. Um, it's a way to uh, save in Botpress like a trace of us having sent a message back to ClickUp. Because
yes,
if we
yeah.
just do a call to ClickUp, we'll send a message. There's no trace of it really. It's just an API call that we did, but we want to persist that outgoing message. Um, and yeah, but we'll bind it to ClickUp using those IDs. Why do we want to do that?
Um, Basically, if you list all of the messages from Botpress inside our system, you won't know which message is linked to which message in both systems by adding the tags on the message after sending it to ClickUp. We'll be able to reference the message. So in the future, if you want to update this message and change the content, you can do that because you have access to the message ID in Botpress.
Okay. All right. So we'll see that in action now.
Yep.
So that means I absolutely need the ACK here.
Yep.
I might as well just add that in.
Yeah, you'll need the ACK, conversation, payload, and I think that's all. Yeah,
Okay.
perfect. So now that we have the ClickUp client, we can just straight up create a new comment on the task. So you can do ClickUp dot await ClickUp
Mm.
dot create comment. And this function is taking two arguments. The first one will be text, which is the text we want to send. It's going to be text colon payload.text. Text coming from Botpress. And the other one is the task ID. To get the task ID, if we remember what we did last stream, we set a tag on the conversation called task ID.
Get or create conversation. Click up task ID up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we create the conversation index, click up task ID, and then we pass it in.
So we can just
Okay.
get back this task ID from the tags of the conversation to send it to the right place in ClickUp. Yep. And you can forget about the error and do an exclamation mark just to say to TypeScript, I know it's available. Usually you should handle the error properly, but like I said last time, we'll skip this part and just assume it's available.
Right.
And
Yeah. Okay. Payload.text.
mhm,
Oh, every time I have a send message card in a node in my bot, this text is what's going to be invoked, and payload.text is the text that I put in my inspector for that message card. That send message card. Okay,
exactly. So
got it.
for text messages, you have that the payload.text information, and for other kind of messages, you have other informations. For example, a more complicated content like card will have buttons, links, title, subtitle. So there's a lot more to handle when creating more complex object or
And
complex messages.
the typings know when I'm in this text function, the payload is a type text necessarily, and I have all those autocompletes for the different types. So
Yeah,
if I'd have a carousel here, I'd see all the carousel options.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
always synced so that you have all the information you need to build your integration. So we've worked a lot to make it work properly, and it's really helpful to have this information.
Absolutely. Like that way I'm just control space or control space. Instead of having to refer back to the documentation all the time, just
Mhm.
autocomplete. Great. So we're creating the comment on the task for which the message from the user came in. Okay. Well, then we have to acknowledge this.
Yep. So the first thing we'll do is to create a new variable to get the information we just created in ClickUp. So we can
Mm.
update the line 58 and const comment equal create comment. Now we have the information. We can call the ACK function. we'll need to do await since it's a promise, await ACK. And the only thing you need to pass here is the tags. So ACK, open an object, add the tags, and inside the tags we only have one option, which is the ClickUp ID. So if you open a new object and do control space, you have the ClickUp ID. And it's the comment ID right here. So we can do comment dot ID. I think the comment ID in ClickUp is a number, so we'll need to cast it to a string, so you can do exactly to string. Perfect. The only lines we needed are right here. With that, we should have everything working. So we can test
So
it out.
this acknowledge is doing like it already has the context of the conversation, the client, it has everything it needs in it. We just have to pass it. All we have to pass it is a tag to
Mhm.
persist it in Botpress. Okay,
Yep,
that's it.
yep, that's it.
I'll save that, and then we just deploy. What was this? PNPM run deploy, and skip the prompt with yes. We'll be
Yep,
ready to test it out.
exactly. Yeah, you need to go in the ClickUp integration folder, I
Yeah,
think.
do that every time. We have a knowledge base question in the chat. Not related to this. Okay, how to automate KB updating with new information from website blog. Every time there's a new blog article, I need to manually go in and add the new URL to the KB and add doc. Yeah. Uh, uh, yeah, depending on which kind of knowledge base source you're using, like the answer is going to be a little different. But I think in the end, what Gordy's right there. Um, we're working on ways to automate that. So if you're using a like the web search uses the Bing API. So Bing, you'll be dependent on Bing recrawling, like reindexing the website. If the website is yours, with a little bit of good news there, you can go into the big webmaster tools and you can get some kind of level of control over the frequency um, of that index happening. You can even request it to put it in its queue so it can do it a little faster, I believe, but I'm no expert there. So I don't want to be there lying too much. If you're using the web crawl function, the knowledge source, the page crawl, you have to manually go add that page in today. You could also use your sitemap. That page would have to show up in your sitemap. That would be some form of automation, but you always have to go in and click and like remove or then recrawl the pages. So there's still some manual work to be done in there, but definitely we're looking into making this, you know, more efficient, more easy for you to update your KBs in the future. I know there'll also be some APIs. Like I can't give any ETA on that. That would allow us to build like CI/CD pipelines with our KB, like having some tooling, crawling internal websites, maybe so your own CMS, and then pushing the data into Botpress, and then having the train and publish happen. That's in the future, and I'm not going to make any commitments on any timeline for those features. So as Gordy said, yeah, it's a little bit of manual work at the moment. Back to ClickUp, I'll switch over to my Botpress, my browser. There we go. Integrations, ClickUp. I don't need to do anything here because once it's been, okay, we don't have, what we discussed last time is we don't have versioning just yet, other than like, yeah, your private integration here. Since we already installed it, deployed, every time we deploy, it redeploys on the installed one, so we don't have to remove it and add it back in. It's already updated. So you could just directly send me a message here and in theory would get a message back because, well, if I send it, it's just going to be ignored if I remember because I'm the user
Yeah,
to that.
exactly.
Uh,
I'll create a new task, so it will be a brand new conversation.
hmm.
Just click up.
All right.
Now that I've created a new task, I can say hi, and the bot should answer back.
The bot was probably sleeping. We'll give it 10 seconds. Click up. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay. So I click up, send a message, click up. So if I go to my bot, really this was all there was to it. I was saying click up back uh, to to the user in my comment. And if we go into our logs here, we see there that we're getting the where's Mike's message? What did you say?
hi.
Just said hi. It's quite
Yeah,
simple, right? I thought I output hello. The one you sent me earlier today. Ref- on the refresh. Oh, it's right there. Hi. Okay.
hi.
Sweet.
Perfect. Nice.
All right.
So
Another few questions. How long to have the beta of human in the loop? I got to give you that loud, resounding soon. I don't have a specific time for that, but I know it reached at staging recently. It's being tested. It's first round of tests and first round of test corrections. So soon. It's a very dynamic description, depending on who you ask. But it will be for Zendesk, right? It'll be a human in the loop for Zendesk specifically. So if it's with another system, well, that'll naturally take more time as we're just fleshing out the human in the loop agent that will be able to use to configure multiple in the future. Um, is the ClickUp integration recent? Well, yeah, we're building it out. By the time we're done building it out, once we're done building it out, we'll release it. We'll release it officially in the hub.
mhm.
So we'll be doing that together. All right, Mike, our next step.
Well, we've
Because kind of just closed our loop here.
yeah, exactly. So we've built a way for a bot to have a conversation, but now we maybe want some advanced feature. We want to create tasks in ClickUp. We want to do actions in ClickUp. So
Mm-hmm.
like the web chat, we have multiple actions available. We can toggle the web chat, get the user data, show the web chat. There's a lot of actions. We can do the same
Mm-hmm.
thing with ClickUp. We could create a
We can go
simple,
register additional
yeah,
actions in this execute section for each integration, and I imagine we'll see our cute little ClickUp logo here. Okay.
exactly. So this is what we're going to do to add new functionalities to the studio that enables the bot to do actions in the external system. So we'll go back in the code and add the action.
Okay. Our index here. Actions.
Yep.
Oh.
Like all the other objects we defined, like messages, tags, we need to define first the action. What will be the functionality we're adding? So this is always done in the integration definition. You can go back there. And there's an action section here. So we can add the action at the top level of the definition. I think you're missing a colon.
Yeah.
Mhm. Now, this is the name of the action, so we can call it create task, for example. And inside this payload, we'll have to define what are the inputs that are required to create the task and what are the output that this action will give us. So we can add input, and inside the input, there's a schema that we need to define. Like last time, this is a ZOD object. And we'll go really simple. We won't add all of the fields of a task, but usually when you define an action, you want the action to be as rich as possible. So you have the most information you can. For now, we'll go really simple. When you create a task in ClickUp, you need basically three information: the list ID, the name of the task, and a description is really helpful. So we'll add that one.
Okay. Schema object. You said the list ID.
This list ID. This is a string. And the name and the description. You don't
Name.
need to specify the task ID since we're creating
Right.
it.
Right.
And to
Okay.
add a little bit of um, change, we can make the description optional and do dot optional here. Perfect. So now to create a task, we have the necessary input, and we need to define what will be returned by this action. So we'll add the output section. And for now, we'll only return the ID of the task. So we can add ID. And I think the ID is a string, so I'll add a string. Perfect. You can save everything and regenerate all the types. So if you go in the terminal, you can do pnpm build, which are one of the scripts. Oh, build is not there. You can do gen, which does almost the same thing.
npm run gen.
Yep.
Okay. And then that means can come here and
Yeah.
create task is missing. Nice.
So now we need to implement the functionality. This will be an async function.
Sync like
Yep. Exactly. And here we'll have access to the input we just defined. And since we defined the output, we also have, we're also required to return the right output. So in this function, we'll need to return the ID of the task we're creating in ClickUp.
okay.
But as usual, yeah, it's expecting the output basically. This is why there's an error. We'll fix that after creating the task. The first step is the same as all the other function. We'll create the ClickUp client. I think you removed the curly braces in the function properties. Mhm.
You got quite the eye. All right.
Yes, I do. So
So now it's like const, okay, I'll be expecting something back if I get this bit ClickUp dot create task, and then in there to need to pass in everything from my input, right? So name,
you can just
uh,
pass input. It should have all the information you need without the curly braces.
oh, because it's the same object.
Hmm.
Got it. Got it. Got it. And this returns something.
Yeah,
Prompts to
it
type any.
should return. Yeah, it should return a task. It's not typed since we use the Axios to do the requests, but the right information is there. And we will just return an object with the task ID. So return an object and pass the ID. Yep, perfect. This is all we needed to implement this functionality.
Oh, why am I returning an object of type ID instead of just the ID?
Because if you all of the output of actions need to return an object. It's the default way to interact with actions. And since the task isn't won't only contains an ID, maybe you'll add a name later, maybe you'll add the description in the return. Uh, all this information is a lot easier to add to an object than break the API and change from a string to an object with multiple properties.
Okay.
Mm.
We have a question here. Will ClickUp integration be released with custom integrations, or is the custom integration interface already live? Can I bring my own API as long as I stick to the interface actions, channels, register, unregister, etc.? It is live. Today you can get started absolutely creating your own integration. We started building this integration from scratch, so you can it's recorded on YouTube. You can go on YouTube and follow along as we start putting in everything in place to build our integration. And we're just walking you through creating a ClickUp integration so you can build your own. You'll see that we have the Botpress. You go to the Botpress GitHub repository. That's where you'll find the. Oh, thank you, David, for sharing the playlist. That and that GitHub repository is where you'll find there everything you need to well, pretty much. Well, it's actually where our public integrations are, so you can see a bunch of examples if you're looking for a little bit of inspiration how to get things done. Um, we'll see late. Well, you'll see how we deployed this privately on our own workspace. And later on, we'll see how to make a public contribution to the Botpress repository if you want to share your integration with everyone. Um,
Yeah,
okay. See,
if
turn the music.
if
Okay, they got the music
we
working. We're good.
oh, the music wasn't working.
No, no. Coma was hearing the music, but couldn't hear us. So there's a little
Mm.
button there on Discord. You have to disable kind of elevator music. Wait in the stage. It's a little misconfiguration on the audio. All right, so back to it. I just had to do deploy again.
Yep. So we'll override the current integration and go back in the studio after that. And we should see the create task action.
Refresh, I imagine, right?
Yes.
Got some color there. Create task. I got to
Mhm.
drag this in here, and all the inputs that we've defined are here, list ID.
Yep,
Did we define?
we defined list ID. And this ID should be available in the URL of ClickUp. If you go back in ClickUp, we can find the list
List
ID.
ID. Yes, yes, yes. List ID. Okay. So list ID, name and description. We see description is optional, so we don't have that star there.
Mm-hmm.
And soon before we move into ClickUp, this comes like soon as we have an output, this comes by default. We can automatically store that output in a workflow variable we've created, or a user variable, or a bot variable, for example. This is always there. We don't have to make anything. Okay. So that will be the object we're outputting. So it's going to be an object, an ID.
Exactly.
All right. So where do we get this list ID? Back to ClickUp, you told me.
Yeah. If you go back to the main panel and you look at the top in your URL, the last ID is the list ID. Yes, this one. This is going to be the to-dos list ID, where we have 2 tasks currently.
Okay. We're going to be creating one there. So I'll just paste that in.
And we can be creative and try to add a new task using the user input in ClickUp.
Hmm.
So we could ask, yeah, even the preview and just create the task using the content of the user message. And we can add a random description. Perfect.
I'll store that in a variable for later, just so we can see it here in the
Mhm. Well,
debugger.
we could send the ID of the new task to the user after creating it. So if we add a new text message, we could include it
Hmm.
in a message. Yeah, and if we prefix it with task ID, then we can.
Understand what we're getting back in that
Yeah.
comment later on. What's this number?
um, I think you need curly braces when accessing an object. You can't do
Oh,
it without. I'm not sure.
okay. That's possible.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Let's 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 see.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
We'll see. Right?
So,
Yeah. Okay. Then I can test this from the emulator in this case. I don't need to.
mm, I'm not sure it's going to work since. Oh, it's going to work. Yeah. Yeah. You can test it out right here.
Try and break it.
Yeah. Oh, it worked.
All right. So you were right. We do need the curly braces when accessing a more complex object.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll strip that out. There we go. Click up task ID. We're outputting the ID. So yeah, when we create this input, so nicely formatted output ID.
Yeah, and if we go back in the ClickUp system, we should see the new task right here in our list.
Hey, oh yeah, right. It's the user's preview. Okay, so it's whatever I typed in. I'm just picking that up random with my random description and my smiley face.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we've added a really simple action to add new data in the system by creating a new task using the Botpress actions. It
And then
can
anything
become
created here, we can also
really
have our.
powerful.
Okay. All right, we got. Oh, we have a. How did you fix it? No. Can an existing integration be modified? For example, adding functionality to the existing WhatsApp meta integration to parse a shared contact and extract user info, parsing a location to extract latitude.
Mm. If you want to update a WhatsApp integration, you have two options. The first one is to do a contribution, and we're open to contribution. We'll accept them, and it's really something we want to do. So you can contribute with new actions and new functionalities to the integration, and we'll integrate them, and they will be available for everyone. Or the other option is to fork the integration, deploy it privately in your workspace, and add the functionality you want. But you can do both. It's perfectly fine to uh, choose what you want to do.
I would definitely opt for the public contribution. If it's something that's useful for you, it's probably going to be useful for a lot of other people
Mhm.
too. Um, I imagine, Mike, that you'll have you'll we'll go through a rigorous review of the engineering team before it's approved.
Yes, we have a specific set of standards that we apply to each integration because we want to maintain some um, well, we want our integration to be well built, so we have really specific set of rules to maintain this uh, professional integration set of features. But it's pretty simple to follow. So if you look at how the code is structured and how everything works, if you just contribute and have those guidelines, we'll merge it as soon as you as it's reviewed, basically.
Awesome. And Mike, are those guidelines somewhere well, developers could refer to before they submit something, and then they get like hit with all these like fix this curly brace like I did, and
I
naming conventions. I imagine there's a whole set of standards that you're looking
Mhm.
for. Um,
Yes, I don't think we've made public those guidelines, but yeah, I could do that. This is something we should be doing, so I'll take a note here and make it
yeah, it
public.
would be. I'm thinking for myself, it would come as a surprise of like, okay, yeah, it makes sense, but I would have
Mm.
liked to know before I send it off, and then have to like go through like several back and forth and comments. Like I like getting things working like pass.
Perfect.
I'll let you finish taking. Okay, there we go.
Perfect.
So okay, we're sending a message, receiving a message, creating a ticket, a task with an action.
Hmm.
Um, we're missing events,
Yes, exactly. So
or did you
right
want us to do another action?
no, I think we'll do events. Right now, we can do all of this stuff, but if we want to listen on something specific in ClickUp, we really can't do that. For example, if we wanted to wait until a new task is created, and once this is done, Botpress is starting a conversation with a user on another system. We can't do that right now because we don't have this new information coming in Botpress. So we'll try to do that. We'll listen on a new task created in the ClickUp system and react to it. So this is called event. This functionality is called event. So if we go back in the code, we can implement this and test it out.
Okay, so what we're going to be listening for is when I'll do a little plus task here. I'll create the task from ClickUp directly.
Mhm.
Botpress will receive that event. Will receive probably the task too, or maybe the ID. We'll go fetch it, and then we can do. Okay. Uh, Back to the code. So, oh, lost my code editor.
Yep.
There we go. Okay, because it was minimized. It's a little funny. So if I understand the way we did the register and register the handle, we created our definitions. We just created our definitions for the actions before we implemented that method there to create task. We call them events. I'm expecting, is the order in which I place all these like important, or I can just go ahead and put events
No,
up here.
you can just add events anywhere. There's no order or anything. But
Right.
like
So,
the other objects, we also need to define it beforehand. So,
all right. Events. Yes.
and here we can name it, yeah, new task
Oh,
created.
what task create? What did you have in mind? Task created.
Task created is a
Okay.
good name.
You don't
And
like new task? I thought new task was clever.
yeah, both are fine. There isn't any naming convention with the name of the event. It just need to be camel case. This is the only restriction.
Okay. Cool.
And
Um,
as usual, here we'll have a schema. This schema will define um, the body of the event we receive. So here we can just use the ID. So it's going to be the ID of the event that was created.
so far all IDs have been strings.
Yep. This is also a string. And
Okay.
if we add a comma, we can generate the code afterwards. Right
Comma. Oh,
the line or
okay.
string. Yeah.
So, um, I assume uh, the ClickUp event has like probably a complex object that has more than just the ID in it.
Yes.
Uh, so what this does here is we're going to receive the event, then we're just going to take the ID out of it, that available to the integration to the bot.
Yep.
As would I have access to all the other properties from the event, or I have to necessarily um, add them here if I want to be able to use them?
If you want to use them, you need to add those here. You need to
Okay.
add name, description. For now, we'll go simple and just use the ID, but uh, in most cases, you want, like I said, the most feature-rich object
Right.
to be able to go in multiple direction and start a new conversation or add a comment. Or if you have more information, you can use it in the AI task in multiple places, which is really useful.
Right. Yes. Okay, so we'll get started with the ID. That way we'll have the example up and running. And after that, it'll just be as simple as adding these additional properties in this schema here. So I regenerate,
Yep.
pm run gen, microphones in the way of my keyboard. Okay. Oh, we can't deploy yet because now we have to go implement this event.
Well, when implementing an event, it's the other way around. Because right now, we're not doing anything in ClickUp. We're waiting for ClickUp to send us information. So this isn't going to be in the event object. So you can remove this part, and it's going to
Oh,
be back in the handler. Because ClickUp is going to call our webhook right here.
okay.
So in the handler, we have access to the body. The first time, we only listened on the event called task comment posted.
Right.
But now we want to listen on a new event, which is called
Task
uh,
created. Oh yeah, I forgot we'd done that. When we registered the webhook to ClickUp, we had to specify which kind of events we were listening to, we wanted to receive.
mhm.
So task comment posted and task created. So this is the one we're going to be listening for. So else if oop,
Nice. And since this isn't a message, it's an event. We don't need to create a user, create a conversation, create a message. All of those native concepts in Botpress aren't necessary here. We only need to create an event. So we'll use the Botpress client to create an event, which will be sent to the bot. So we can do a wait client that create event. And inside this function, we'll have two properties. The first one is the type of the event that we're creating, which will be ClickUp task created. And the next one is the payload that we're going to send for this event. And here in the payload, we have the ID. So if you open an object, we'll have ID. And I think the ID is available on the body.task underscore ID. Good. So we've just implemented the task created event.
Type of the event is ClickUp task created. Why do I have that ClickUp in front of this again?
Inside the tags, we always use the prefix of the integration. So if you install multiple integration in a bot, you have the context-specific uh, event or tags for this integration. In the future, when building the integration, you won't have to specify it. For now, you need to add it on each objects
Okay,
so
understood.
that the bot can differentiate between integrations.
Okay. What next?
We can test it out. We can
Oh,
just redeploy and try to add a trigger for this event.
ah, yes.
So if we go back in Botpress, we should see the new event added.
Refresh.
Yep. So we have a
Okay.
trigger for this event. So
Oh, right. Okay, so this is trigger. We don't have any particular configurations. Can we have like inputs to this? I thought I saw. No.
I don't.
What do we want to do?
We could log the ID. So if you add execute code or add a record, so insert or well, no, just log. It's going to be fine if we log.
It
As
is the event.
we could just log the event, and also I think you can set the output inside the trigger. We can create a new variable for the event. So if you go back
Oh, yeah.
in the trigger, I'm not sure.
I'm just gonna delete this here. Oh, there's no output variable. No.
Okay. Oh yeah, so we can just use the event. I think it's events.payload, and we can log this out. Yes, so we can test this out by adding a new task. Well, we need to deploy it first, but
What? Haha. Yes. Publish.
publish. Yes, sorry, publish.
Sorry, we added the trigger. Okay, because earlier I confused myself because earlier we tested the action here
Mm-hmm.
in the emulator, but then in the case of the trigger, since we're hitting that public endpoint, the webhook bot needs to be published
Yep.
since we did the change. Okay, I can go here, create a task in my to-dos, task name, my new task. No, I'll call it event trigger. Description. Description. No subtasks. No attachments. Just keep this simple.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And if you click on this task, you can look up the ID at the top. So 86, I don't know, yes, this.
86A something.
Yeah.
And then we go back. Oh, we have to go to the bot logs
Yep.
in here. Refresh this.
I think it's the last log line. You'll see.
No, this one here.
Yep.
Bot action. Okay. There it is. Yeah. 86A something. Looks accurate.
So we've gone through all of the features that we have access when building an integration. Events, actions, conversation, messages, everything.
That's it?
Yep. So everyone now can build an integration either publicly or privately, and they can add those functionality that they need and they require for building their bots. So if you want to contribute, anyone can, and if you want to do everything privately, you can also.
I thought we were gonna need another session for this. I wasn't ready to like end this like, almost on the dot. Like we have 4 minutes left. It's
There's
just like
something I could show with the time remaining.
mm-hmm.
Something that is really useful when building an integration. It's a functionality that allows you to have auto reload and not have to always gen and everything. It can be all done automatically.
It's like that watch, that yarn watch I loved so much. And
Yeah, really similar to that. So if you go back in the code, I can show this. And it's
yes.
as simple as doing pnpm run dev, which run the dev command.
No. Come on, like see in my package. It's just okay. And it's still listening.
Yep. So if you
Okay, from
go
what I see.
in the index.ts,
Oh, okay.
we can change a line. For example, if you add a new line on this file and you save it, everything is rebuilt, recompiled, regenerated, and now you have the new code running.
Oh, it's deployed too.
Well, the dev command is deploying a fake integration that you can use in a bot. You can have a bot as code that you can run on the side. And while
Mm.
building your integration, you can test it out locally with a bot. Instead of having to deploy it, add functionality in the studio and everything, you can do everything locally. And this is something we could do on a next session.
We just closed off an integration with our bot in the cloud, and you're like, hey, you can run a bot locally as code, not in the cloud. Just toss that there as naturally as possible. Like there's nothing like okay, this is huge. So we could really start okay. This bot that we build is code. Can we like import it into our environment, into our cloud after?
When you build a bot as code, you
Yeah.
can deploy it in the cloud without having to touch the studio at all. Obviously, the studio is adding everything related to dialogue management, turn, and multiple useful feature that you don't have access when building a bot as code. You need to do everything from scratch. So it's a lot harder to build, but if you're more a developer than a bot builder with using a studio, you can go that way.
Hmm. Okay, so do I understand I can build my bot as code, I can deploy it into my workspace, I just won't have access to the studio functionality?
Exactly.
Okay, well, I can see how that could be appealing to a certain group of people. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, that will be definitely that will be for another session. Uh, I want to do that. I definitely want us to do that, at least for fun. Uh, well then, we're gonna just end this session on this huge cliffhanger. Everyone, you now know how to create. So okay, so we deployed our integration, right? We have our code here. If we wanted to make this integration public, like next step, so we like really close the loop, finish off the ClickUp integration, it would
Mhm.
be to me to make a PR with this code on the Botpress public um, repository, which is GitHub/Botpress/Botpress,
Yes.
as a new integration, a new folder there next to the other integrations.
Mhm.
And I feel like next step is like if I sent this out, my first comments you would say is like, well, Jesse, you have no error handling here. Um, what we'll do is add in all this error handling to the ClickUp integration. Well, actually, I believe you already have all the error handling on your end. Like you have the complete ClickUp integration. It's about what we have here is what it's about 80%,
Mhm.
90% of the integration. You just added the error handling and whatnot, and it'll be available for everyone to use like next week.
Yeah, next week.
You
Well,
could say 2 weeks if I'm being overly ambitious. I don't want to make
well, I
unmet
think next
promises.
week is fine.
Okay. Um, awesome. All right. Mike, see you maybe next week. Maybe we'll give you a break and do something else with someone else, and then we'll come back. We'll see what the plan is for next week. It'll be a little surprise for everyone. Mike, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jesse.